North Star Independent Bottlers Tobermory 2008-2018. Any good? Check it out on WhiskyWhistle. Hey everybody, why don't you come with me to the Scottish Highlands? It's going to be a blast. Hey yo, my whiskey people, Mark here from WhiskyWhistle on YouTube, sharing a little whiskey awesomeness from Winnipeg, the center of North America, bringing you North Star, an independent bottler, a rather new one, and their Tobermory 2008-2018. It's 10 years old in 1 month, roughly. 56.5% cask strength. This tells us that it is bottled from a sherry butt, so that's pretty cool. It's unchill filtered, it's natural in color, and you can check out northstarspirits.com. Let's get that opened. I like their labeling. It's a little bit, what can I call that? Decorative. And a nice bottle similar to, let's say, Bruichladdich. We'll pour a nice amount. That should be good. About 40 milliliters, I would say. So it's natural in color, it's cask strength, and it's Tobermory. Do you know Tobermory? So Tobermory is a Scotch distillery on the Isle of Mull, a single malt Scotch distillery. The Isle of Mull, it's an island region. It's not really a region, it's really a Highland whiskey, but an island region. So it's got some coastal effects, rather significant coastal effects. And they also make a peated version, which is called Lecheg. If you ever see that around, I recommend them both. The official bottlings are excellent, and I'm really quite surprised with this independent bottling. So here on WhiskyWhistle, we'll check out the color of the whiskey. We will check out the legs of the whiskey for Tobermory from North Star Spirits. Then we'll check out the nose, the palate, and the finish before giving it a WhiskyWhistle whiskey score at the end of the show. Make sure you stay tuned right till then. By the way, Tobermory on the Isle of Mull will be one of the stops. In fact, we'll stay on the island for the WhiskyWhistle Highland Malt Expedition. So jump on that one. That's November 10th to 18th. Check the link in the description below. All right? Okay, color for Tobermory 10 from North Star Spirits. Rather your typical whiskey hue, perhaps just one darker. And that would be owing to the fact that it's cask strength, more so than it's from a sherry butt. Butts are rather large, and they actually may not impart a whole lot of color in a short period of time. So that's 10 years old. Not quite long enough to really give it a deep hue. Okay, and the legs should be slow, and yep, they trickle down very slowly. Extremely slowly. So we should definitely have a nice mouthfeel here. And as I mentioned, you'll have more dissolved stuff in the whiskey. You'll also have a little bit of something from the sherry casks. Anyway, beautiful legs for this cask strength Tobermory from North Star. On to the nose. Now you still get this very green note there. And I liken that to parsley that's been dipped in sugar water, and then let to dry. Yeah, very fresh green note. Apple, some light dried fruit notes, so a little bit of light raisins, some mango, dried apples, apple rings. Have you had those? They're good. So appley, fresh, green, hint of sugar. Something like red Kool-Aid without any sugar added. So kind of a slightly sour, tart note there. Sweet, tart. Oh, and rockets. I'm getting rockets from this. Love those rockets. Ah, my sweet tooth. Okay, let's check out the palate together. Cheers. Sweet tart. Some fresh fruit. A little bit of dried fruits. A little bit of dried tropical fruits. It really is just this really interesting, slightly more tart than sweet type of a palate. A little bit of effervescence on the palate. Sherbety type of a feeling. Maybe like a raspberry sherbet. Interesting. Let's add a bit of water here. And if you're a lover of the original 10, Tobermory 10 year, and I think they've upped that to 12 now for their new range that's coming out, I'm sure this would be up your alley. And there should be some of this available even now because they're rather new and a little bit uncharted in some regards. Well, that's interesting. Very unusual tasting notes here. Cold rain on hot tarmac. The palate talks about dark chocolate and maraschino cherries. With water, you do get a little bit more of a fruit event. I don't know about this rain. Maybe a nice rain in a fruit orchard. Still a very green nose, at least to me. There's a little bit of sherry happening there. A little bit of that red fruit that I mentioned. Red Kool-Aid. And it's really developing now with the water added. All right, on to the palate. Cheers, everybody. With the water added, I do get something cherry-esque. That might be a little bit of effect from reading that. But there's a definite red fruit note. Candied cherries would be a good one. A good descriptor here. And for me, rather than dark chocolate, I would say Cadbury's fruit and nut. And the finish is actually fairly long for a 10-year-old. Fruity, juicy, a little bit spicy. I don't really get a lot of vanilla here. I get a little bit more just straight sugar syrup, like agave syrup. The nose is also coming around a bit with water added now. I can see what they mean about the dark chocolate. I'm talking 80% dark chocolate. So it's not really sweet. You get that chocolate hit, cocoa hit, but not much else. And a very thick, rich mouthfeel with water added. Beautifully so. Yeah, nice fresh agave syrup. It really gels up in the mouth. Isn't that cool? A little bit dry. Still that effervescent kind of like a raspberry sherbety note, which is very lovely. And to me, this seems like a very good example of Tobermory at cask strength. Right up my alley. I really like Tobermory, and I've liked it since the start. And it happened to be my budget whiskey of the year for 2015, way back when. That was a Tobermory 10, I should say. The official bottle. I'm getting some nice spice now. Some cinnamon, some nutmeg, bit of ginger, sweet ginger, baking ginger, ginger snaps added to that red fruit, slightly cherried event. And the more water you add, the more you notice that bit of dark chocolate. So that's really cool. No, it's very nice, and I'm really happy that I bought that. And I didn't pay very much for this. Well worth it, and a nice example of Tobermory. Let's get out of the WhiskyWhistle Whiskey Score for North Star Tobermory. September 2018 to October 2018. Cask Series 6. Anyway, the WhiskyWhistle Whiskey Score for this interesting Tobermory from North Star, the independent bottler. What's that going to be? Well, folks, it's going to be 90 out of 100. You heard it. 90 out of 100 is the WhiskyWhistle Whiskey Score for this very interesting Tobermory. Oh, and I see they're in Glasgow. Maybe I will have to visit North Star when I'm in Glasgow for the WhiskyWhistle Highland Malt Expedition. Hope you enjoyed that. 90 points for Tobermory from North Star, 10-year, September 2008 to October 2018. And if you've enjoyed this, make sure you subscribe to WhiskyWhistle right here. Hit the bell so you're notified of the future Whiskey Whistles. That's the best way to help out WhiskyWhistle. If you're in Winnipeg, join the Winnipeg Whiskey Club. And if you happen to be in Winnipeg occasionally for business, then join the Winnipeg Whiskey Club and Friends Facebook group. And try to come every last Wednesday of the month. And then you'll hit all of the Whiskey Club nights, okay? And if you're really enjoying what I'm doing here, then check me out on Patreon. Become a WhiskyWhistle crew member at patreon.com/WhiskyWhistle. And lastly, make sure you check out that tour that's happening this year. We're going to visit 16 distilleries in 9 days. It's going to be a great, epic trip. Take care, everybody. Goodbye now. Thanks for watching Whiskey Whistle. Be sure to subscribe, and don't forget to give this video a like and leave a comment down below. Be sure to stay tuned next time to join me, the host of the show, Mark, as I explore more whiskeys with you. Take care now, and we'll see you next time.